first things first, how are you?
I'm well. Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
Okay, so I'd like to jump straight in.
Mm-hmm.
You recorded your latest album in Wisconsin. What was your impression of Wisconsin?
I think we all really like Wisconsin. It's one of those places that it's not really a place in America that lots of people would go out of their way to go to. It's not like, I don't know, New York or like, I guess the nearest like big city would be Minneapolis in Minnesota. That's like kind of a cool city, but it's a very unpretentious place. People are just kind of like good and sturdy, and there's actually a lot of good music there that's being made. And
what kind of music?
I guess lots of quite interesting singer-songwriter music, but not in a traditional way. Like there's lots of kind of quite alternative, although I hate that name for a genre. But yeah, I can't really explain. There's like good hip hop and stuff that's like there's good rap that's being made there, and there's good like interesting textural music. Yeah, it's always quite left field.
Is this something you discovered when you went there, or had you been there before?
Well, I think when we were on tour with the Bon Iver lads, lots of them are kind of from that neck of the woods and have their own kind of projects. Especially S. Carey, who plays drums. He has his own thing, and it's really beautiful songs and interesting textures and things. And yeah, gradually when we heard them talking more and more about like people they grew up playing with and things like that, I think it kind of became apparent that it's a small hub of music. And yeah, it was more highlighted when we went there. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when you set out there the second time, was there the clear intent of working on an album?
No, we had just kind of been touring for a long time, and Justin said, like, I know how tiring it gets and you need a break, so next time you have a couple of weeks off tour, why don't you just come out to the house and you can just really chill, and we'll play some songs and just have a nice time. So yeah, we went out with no expectations at all, but we must have really needed to make new music, because when we got there, these songs just kind of came out like in a kind of torrent, like we've never really done before. It was very productive, and we were there for like 10 days, and we came out with like 10 demos, and we wrote lots there, and it was just like a really new experience for us. Yeah, and then it was kind of a couple of trips after that we thought, I think we're making an album now.
Yeah.
Did you have any songs lying around already for what would be an album, or in the previous 3 years while touring?
Scraps.
Yeah, it's kind of bits of songs.
We were on the road so much, it was so hard to write, like we just didn't have any time. So we had all this inspiration of experiences and things that we wanted to write about, and just no time to kind of actually put those thoughts together. So there are snippets of like a melody idea, and we had like maybe a couple of
fully formed ones, but the rest were really just kind of bits that needed to be sewn together or expanded upon or worked on.
And then you mentioned the kinds of experiences that you had on the road, that they would function as inspiration. Can you give me an example of something that ended up on the album that was an inspiration?
Well, it's kind of not really that specific. It's more like being on the road is such a strange way of life, and it really informs everything. Your whole life changes, and you're kind of sitting in the back of the van for several hours a day just kind of thinking about, I don't really have a home anymore, and where is my home if I'm never there, and what does it mean to be in love with someone if you never see them, and trying to maintain relationships with your friends when you're missing birthdays and weddings and everything, and you're always traveling, but you've at the same time are having this great time, and you've got this gang of people, but it's like I don't know, just all trying to make sense of all of those things. And yeah, all of those things kind of fed into the album.
Yeah.
And like some specific weirdness of just like not knowing what state you're in, or what currency to use, what time zone, which hotel, like just weird moments.
Yeah. Because are those moments, those quiet moments on the road in particular, I believe that's when your mind wanders. So do you tend to overthink things then because of that?
Oh, there's plenty of time to overthink things. Yeah.
Sure.
Overthink things, not think enough about things. Yeah, there's enough. It's a strange thing having, like, on one hand, a lot of time to think, and on the other hand, not enough time to actually do anything or think in a productive way. It's just kind of, you can't really do anything with the 6 hours in the back of a van. You can't get that much done. Like, some people are people who can sit and just like write a full song in the back of a van, and I really envy that. But I can't do that. It's more a pondering life time.
But what you mentioned, I believe it was Watford, where you do you still live there then?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then do you get the chance to go back every once in a while?
Yeah, sure. When we're not touring, it hasn't been as full on this time.
Okay.
So we've been home a bit more, which has been nice.
Yeah.
Okay, and if we then go back to you had all these ideas, and then you went to Wisconsin. What was the first idea that kind of became a whole song?
Did we start with Blood I Bled, or was it Black and White?
It was either Blood I Bled or Black and White. I think it might have been Blood I Bled. It's the first song on the album called Blood I Bled. And it was actually a song that we started writing at the end of the first album and had like the initial idea for it. And it kind of like lay dormant for ages, and we'd been touring, and when we were going to go out to Justin's for the first time and like do whatever, I think we all knew that we wanted to work on that one, so we kind of finished words and things, but still didn't really know how it fit together. And I think doing that song was when we really knew that, I don't know, just how much fun being in a studio could be, because he had so many great ideas, and he also kind of allowed us to have loads of ideas and had loads of amazing instruments, and we put like synth on a song for the first time, and all of us played percussion, and like it sounds so simple, but to us we'd always been very hampered in the studio, very kind of like
it felt like we'd never really been able to truly experiment and like just go where our wills took us.
Why not? Why not? What was it, by your own doing, or by the external force?
I think it's just kind of different people and different atmospheres, and with Justin, he just creates this incredible place where you feel you can be really vulnerable, and everyone's very supportive, and it's a very trusting, safe place to make music where people are just enthusiastic and like into what you're doing and want to make mistakes, and it's going to be fine. Whereas I think before we've not had that trust with producers and the people that we've been working with. Like it's a really hard and rare thing to get. You can't make it happen by looking at a piece of paper and like, oh, these people will work. Like, but when you find it, it's magic, and you've just got to keep it.
Can you give me an example of an idea then that you didn't think would have made it on the first album, that something that kind of could only happen now that you had this freedom?
That's a good question.
I mean, there's loads of stuff. Like, we wanted horns, and we wanted strings, and we wanted like big drums and electronic beats, and we wanted I don't know, like to try weird stuff with our voices, use them more as instruments. And
again, that wouldn't have suited the songs on the first album as much. So it's kind of like we grew into that But yeah, I think a song like Black and White we wouldn't have been able to do on the first album, so it's kind of more, it's more like straightforward, slightly rockier song, so electric guitar and like loud drums and us singing out a lot more than we have before. That, I think, couldn't have happened anywhere else. And songs
like Damn It All.
Yeah. So that's very, very Twin Peaks kind of synths that I think we might have felt too shy to kind of properly throw ourselves into before. But yeah, there's lots of moments that feel very specific to that sort of space.